The METUS Tech Show.
Welcome to the METUS Tech Show, a show for HVAC professionals by HVAC professionals.
The METUS Tech Show.
Mitsubishi.
So you're down in Atlanta last week. Did you go to our favorite restaurant?
I sure did, Roland. I went to Omaido. That's our favorite ramen noodle place.
So what'd you get down there? How do you like your ramen and noodles?
I like the ramen noodle with the pork belly
Yeah, that's good.
and the hard-boiled egg.
I get an extra hard-boiled egg.
Do you?
Yeah. I throw a little chicken in there, let it soak in there.
That's
so
awesome.
what level do you like?
I'm a level 2 guy. I can't go any higher than that. I mean, at level 2, I'm wiping my head because of perspiration.
Yeah, and you know that goes up to 100.
Oh, my goodness.
God bless the guy that can eat 5.
Can you imagine that? So
All right.
anyways,
Welcome to the METUS Tech Show.
and the topic for today is going to be...
Additional refrigerant charge.
So that is great, Roland. That's a great topic. There's
Yes,
a
it
lot
is.
of questions on that. So let's start on the single zone M series. Where do we get the information from?
Well, mylinkdrive.com service minimum, but you also can find it right on the nameplate for additional charge. So that information's right there on the inside of the nameplate. And really don't have to add any refrigerant 25 feet or less as far as the refrigerant lines are concerned. Anything after that, you got to start adding refrigerant.
So as long as my line set is 25 feet or below, I don't have to worry about any any
You're good.
refrigerant.
You're good.
And that's good because, for example, on the MUZ FH09, it requires adding 1.08 ounces for every additional 5 feet when you go beyond 25 feet.
And that's every additional 5 feet, not a foot, as other
Correct.
manufacturers do.
No
So-
matter if you go 2 feet above or 3 feet above it, you always add 1.08 ounces.
Yeah, and where these are critical charge systems, it's crucial. It's to the performance of the system. Make sure that it works within the efficiency of it. One of the things we tell people is that the energy cost of the system. If something's out of line, out of whack, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose that.
You're going to lose performance. Granted, that we just gave an example on one specific model.
Right,
Where
right.
can we go to find for everything else?
You definitely got to go to the refrigeration installation manual for specific information on a specific piece of equipment you're working on.
And we find that at mylinkdrive.com.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
where all the manuals I found.
Absolutely.
So now let's talk a little bit about the MXZ ported unit.
Okay, that's a little bit different.
Do things change there?
Well, you still can check the nameplate for the additional charge, but for the example, in the MXZ 3C, you don't really need to add any refrigerant below 98 feet. No additional charge required.
Awesome. And the also we know that on the MXZ-2C20 is different as far as adding the charge because that model is 131 feet.
Yeah, so there are differences between our models, and like we said earlier, bottom line is you need to go to the manual for the specific information.
A specific
Yeah,
model.
so that's a pretty big difference on that one piece of equipment right there.
Absolutely. So now talking about smart multi-branch box type units. That type of system always requires an additional charge.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one thing too. Is people probably sometimes they look for what's my minimum refrigerant lengths before I have to add a charge, and it doesn't happen that way. Once you get into that smart multi-branch box, you're adding refrigerant.
Right. You need to measure the liquid line between the outer unit and the branch box, and then every liquid line from the branch box to each indoor unit. They're different sizes. They're going to require a different charge, a different multiplier.
And that's the other thing too, is depending on the capacity or the size of the head, it could be either a 1/4-inch liquid line or a 3/8. So you have different charges for those size liquid lines.
Right. Because there's a multiplier for the 1/4-inch and there's a multiplier for the 3/8, so that covers your line sets. And then, like you said, we need to add the connected capacity. So if you've got 12,000 BTU units connected to the branch box, then we go to the chart found in the installation instructions, and that tells us what to add for a 36,000 connected capacity on the unit.
Yeah, and it's a simple math formula. Just take the line set length multiply it by the factor. For instance, if it's quarter-inch line set, you're going to multiply it by 0.21 per foot. If it's 3/8 liquid line set, you're going to multiply it by 0.55 per foot. So once again, it's a critical charge system. You got to treat it that way.
Yeah, and the reason why we keep repeating that you need to consult with the installation instructions, the bigger reason is also that multipliers for the quarter-inch and the 3/8 pipe diameters will change based on the outdoor unit capacity.
Absolutely, and that's a key point to say. Again, service manual for that. And and after we do all that, we have more refrigerant we have to add to it. And one of the things we have to do is, again, looking at a chart, take the total capacity of connected units. Now, we can have some units that are below 27,000 BTUs, and if that's the case, then that would be 53 additional ounces for a capacity below 27,000 BTUs. So, and then, just to get clear on that, simply count up the total BTUs on the heads. If they fall below 27, there's your chart. If they're between 28 and 54,000 BTUs, an additional 88 ounces has to be added.
And we find that chart very clearly in the installation instructions.
Absolutely.
So we're only worried about the line set diameters and lengths. So it's very important that we do this because the charge that comes with the outdoor unit is just for the outdoor unit. It does not account for line set length nor the connected capacity.
Absolutely.
There's only one component that we don't need to worry about, and that is the branch box.
That's right.
We don't need to add that in the calculation.
It's just a point where the refrigerant is distributed, so it really doesn't take up any volume. And, of course, that's where our LEVs are set.
Right. And now all this process is done on paper. We measure and write down on the multipliers, but I believe there's an easier way to do this.
And this is where we're going. Diamond System Builder. We
Yes.
always recommend it. You don't have to use it, but once again, once you put everything in Diamond System Builder, you're going to see much more information other than the additional charge needed. You're going to see actual capacity of what the heads are going to be working at with the respected line length to them. So DSB is
the way to go.
It's the way to go.
And DSB, again, stands for Diamond System Builder.
Diamond System Builder.
What I like about that program, besides that it is free, we do have to tell them that.
And the old saying, nothing's really free. Well, guess
Well,
what?
you're
That's
right.
actually free.
Right. What I like about it is that program will not allow you to make a mistake.
No, it will not.
It only gives you the indoor units that are matches to the outdoor unit.
Right.
It will not allow you to overextend line set lengths.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to allow you to make a mistake in the program.
And the other thing that's always recommended, that once you do have that total charge to the system, is to put it someplace on the inside of a panel. Don't separate it from the unit.
Right. And so to summarize, if it's an M&P, single zone, as long as you're 25 feet or below, you do not add refrigerant.
That's right.
If it's above that, you're going to have a multiplier to add depending on the size of the liquid line.
Look up specifically what it is.
And then on the ported unit, again, there's different requirements, different line set lengths, so we highly recommend to go to the instructions manual as well as on the smart multi-branch box unit.
And I'm going to sound like a tape recorder here. Once again, specifically look up the piece of equipment.
Absolutely. So, Roland, now let's talk about additional refrigerant charge in the city multi-products.
Okay, let's do that.
All right, so we have in the commercial side on City Multi, we have a lot more to consider. Besides line set lengths, we have to count elbows as we should on everything else.
Correct.
And, if to do this by hand, it will take a lot.
It will. And so, any suggestions?
Yes, we have a free software program, a design software we call Diamond System Builder, or as we call it, DSB.
Well, DSB is a program that, once again, is free download. It's on mylinkdrive.com. And it's going to be able to set you up for whatever you need to know. It's a proper piece of equipment, matching compatible pieces of equipment. It can tell you the actual capacity of a unit, depending on duration, on pipe length and elbows. Simply what that means, let's say it's a 24,000 BTU head. It may only be 22,000. because of the pipe lengths. But it's also going to give you something very important. It's going to give you your total charge and additional charge. And no mistakes are made when it's done in there.
Right. And that's one thing, because in the City Multi, we've got pipe diameter all the way from 1/4 inch to 1.1 inch.
Correct, yeah.
And so there's got to be a multiplier for each one of those line set sizes.
Now, you can find all that in the installation manual, but it is cumbersome, and you can easily get distracted. Diamond System Builder,
Yes.
not a
And
problem.
Diamond System Builder, the beauty of it is you select the outdoor unit first. Then if you're dealing with an R2 or heat recovery unit that provides heating and cooling at the same time, then you select the branch box, the branch controller. Then you place it in, and then you tell Diamond System Builder the line set length between the outdoor unit and the branch controller. And then you start adding indoor units to the branch controller, and you start adding those line set lengths as well. So it's going to ask you for the line set length. It automatically populates the sizes of the pipe, but you need to tell it the line set length and how many elbows. And what I tell my classes is the elbows that you need to account for are elbows that are bent by a tubing bender, or by or the ones that are braced in.
Long radius elbow. Yep.
Right. But the ones that are bent by hand, I don't consider those because they're not that sharp or sharp, like
Sharp.
you would say.
It's just sharp corner. The other beautiful thing about DSB, Diamond System Builder, is this. Let's just say, for instance, you got a main branch controller, and you're going to have, 5 sub-branch controllers. Let's say just by chance you put in a single branch controller. And when you go to add a sub-branch controller, you're going to get a round circle with an X going through it, so saying that you selected the wrong piece. So it does cover a lot of mistakes. You can also learn off of it. It does cover mistakes that you make. It will notify you. Even when you export it, you're going to have a pop-up that comes up that says that this unit may need a controller connected to it, and it's just going to tell you to do that. So,
Yeah, typically in our classes, there's an exercise that we do.
Yes, there is.
On DSB, Diamond System Builder. And I tell them, when I come to you, I'm only going to be looking at one number. And I'll give them a hint. I said, the number that I'm looking at, no matter where in the world you calculate this job, it's always going to be the same number if you do it right. So I said, if I'm going to look at, once you're finished, let me know, and I'll come and look at it. If I say you've got work to do, there's 3 areas you need to be looking at. Model number of the equipment. And it's when we say model number, I'm talking about every digit in that model number.
I know you're going with this.
Because one digit's difference can really change the whole job. So you got to make sure you're dealing with the proper model number, the line set length, and how many elbows are you using.
That's correct.
And then that's how the additional refrigerant charge is calculated. And then that number, that I'm looking at, I don't let them know which number I'm looking at, is the additional service charge, the additional refrigerant charge. Right. Because no matter, as long as the design is the same, the region where you're designing the job at doesn't matter, because the refrigerant charge is always going to be the same.
That's right, because I have people pop in their areas where they're coming from. I pop in Orlando. That's where I'm teaching out of. And we do all come up with the same number. But I'm going to tell you right now, almost every single class, there's always somebody that misses something. Like you said, could be an elbow, could be, just a couple feet in length. Sometimes instead of 12 feet, they'll put 21. They got more refrigerant. It's subtle, but it's definitely a difference on that. So would you consider that charge accurate at that point?
Yes. Yeah, if everything it's like everything else, garbage in, garbage out.
There you go.
So if you're accurate in your lengths and your elbows, the number that you get will be accurate.
And, like I say, it's good for any area. It's good for, and we could do a podcast just on DSB, Diamond System Builder by itself.
And that could be a future one.
It does nothing but make you smarter.
Yes, it does. Smarter with a chata. You know what I mean? So is there anything else we should talk about regarding additional refrigerant charge?
Well, I'll just refer back to this one. You can do it longhand, and like I said, it is time consuming. And then the person, sometimes it could be multiple people on a job. Most of the time there is. Now you're dealing with 3, 4, 5, 6 different people with different measurements of pipe length, sizes, and elbows. It can be a team confusion. But once again, one person overall seeing the information, inputting the information into DSB, Diamond System Builder. That person has control, kind of the team leader on that, and you're going to come up with a very accurate number of that critical charge.
Yeah, one thing that I just remember also is you would use Diamond System Builder to first design the job.
Yes.
Now you give it to your installation crew, they install it on the job. How likely is it that line set lengths will change?
Oh, it's going to change,
It's
not
going to
likely.
change.
And that's what I said. The first one really is like a guesstimate of what's
Yes.
going on. The other thing, too, is that you could have a situation where a change order comes down the pike on a job, and let's just say some sort of construction changes have been made, and somebody has to move a cassette. The technician on the job right at that point could punch that information in to see if, in fact, that changes the capacity. So there's information right on the spot that can be found when a change comes down the pike.
Right. And what's going to be easier, changing it on a scratch paper or changing it on DSB, Diamond System Builder?
Oh, definitely DSB.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have to do any math.
Nothing.
Every
It does
time
it for you.
Every time I do math, I have to use my fingers
He
and
does.
toes.
One does have to pull off his shoes
And that's not a pretty sight.
with really simple math problems, too. So I don't know what to say about that.
All right. To summarize, additional refrigerant charge is critical.
Absolutely.
On the smaller M series types and P, depending on you got to look at the installation instructions. The installation instructions will tell you when additional refrigerant charge is needed. Like of the smaller M and P M series units, it's 25 feet before you need any additional charge. In others, maybe 33 feet. So the best thing to do is to just take the installation instructions, go through it, and be prepared for the time that you come in to install the product.
And I think that's part of the reason why when we're talking like this, we don't commit ourselves to numbers because it's product specific.
Exactly. And then, the one on the MXZ Smart Multi branch box type, it's absolutely necessary. Additional charge is always needed on that product for the line set length and the connected units
That's
that connect
correct.
to the
Yep.
branch box. And then again, like we just covered on the city multi side, on the commercial side, it's a lot easier to use Diamond System Builder than it is to do it all in paper.
And again, Diamond System, from a simple 1-to-1 MUZ all the way up to the biggest city multi-piece of equipment we made, it can be used on all.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. I think
right.
we will end this one, and we'll see what happens on the next one.
All right, see you in a couple weeks.
All right, Roland.
Okay.
Have a great evening.
You too.
All right. Adios,
Hasta la vista.
baby.